Hello, my name's Ralph and welcome back to the channel. It's my time, let's go. As you seen last week, we got most of the transmission done and we got it slipped into the bike, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. Now, it didn't go without some problems, as you're going to see in this week's video. Unforeseen things that you just didn't count on, but it happens to you. But it's all part of the game. It's all part of what we live with and what we go through day to day to try and make things work. Today we're going to go along and we're going to get some of the other stuff done. We're going to get the tops on, get all the shift forks in it, do all those sort of things, to shift around, and get everything buttoned up so that the transmission is finished and ready to go. Once we have that finished, next step's going to be to slip the motor in it. So stick with us today. I hope you find it interesting. If you're working on your 5-speed transmission, then hope that some of this will help you out. Let's go. I'd like to take this moment and point something out now today. I was a victim of not following my own advice. And it can happen to anyone, I guess, but it happened to me, and I'm forever saying check and double check and check and double check. When I went to put the transmission together, I thought everything was fine. I took our 5th gear here and I rebuilt it. I put bearings in it, seals in it. Everything looked good. It wasn't very visible that anything was wrong. There was a slight little bit of marking on the edge here, but not enough. I've seen that on different sorts of ones. I couldn't even really hardly feel it with my thumbnail there. So I thought that it was good. I took for granted it was good. Now the problem with these 80, well, they make these special locks for 80 to 83. The Sprocket is a special offset that's made from 80 to, they list up to 85 with a chain drive. But what happened is that I didn't think the Sprocket was in too bad a shape, and I had taken the Sprocket and just slipped it down over my gear like that and had a look at it and went, huh, that's pretty snug on there. That looks pretty good. And being as how the Sprocket wasn't in bad shape, I thought, well, that might do it. Unbeknownst to me, until after I got the transmission assembled with all the spacers and everything, that the Sprocket doesn't sit down flush like that. It actually sits up past the end of the splines. And such is why they make this like this. And it's got little tabs inside of it here, just barely. But the little tabs are supposed to go in there and lock up that little bit that's sticking out. I can see why they're in there, and they'll rock around in there. It's not very impressive at all. I'd spend a lot of money just to buy these tabs, but I guess they will lock up. But again, the problem being is that the Sprocket actually stands up on this. So when I got a new Sprocket and I put it on, it started out, went on there nice and snug. I thought, hey, okay. But when I moved it out to the end, how it would actually be in the transmission with only partially grabbing on the teeth, it would actually rock back and forth like that. Now, being as how this gear is only about 4/5 on the spline, very little bit of it for the lock tab to lock into, and I believe it's torqued on there to over 100 pounds. I'll look it up, but I know it's 100 foot-pounds, which is a lot. If there's any movement in that Sprocket, it's going to wallow back and forth and back and forth, and it's going to come loose. It's going to make a mess. So I had the transmission slipped in and bolted in, and I didn't have the top on it yet, thankfully. All the shift forks and all that assembly and stuff, I was waiting for the Sprocket. And I had ordered the 24 tooth. Notably, a 24 will never go in there with the way that primary case is. So I had to reorder another 22 for it. So now I'm stuck with the 24 that I probably never used. And it wasn't cheap to get that specialty one, because I wanted to upgrade it a little bit. But I had the whole transmission bolted in. I had it all put in, and the only reason that I didn't have the top and the shifter assembly on it was because I intended to lock the transmission into 2 gears, so that when I torque the Sprocket on, especially where it has to be over 100 pounds, I would have it locked in gear and not move it. Trying to put the chain on it, I got no brake on it, trying to jam stuff up and hold it. It's just doing it the hard way. So I opted not to put the shifting cam and all that stuff in it. Well, I'm thankfully glad I didn't, because had I gone that far, I'd have had all that on, all bolted down, torqued down, everything in place. And I would have had to take all of that off. As it was, I was basically, the trap door had to be unbolted and slide the tranny back out. Replaced the gear. I ordered the new gear. Fortunately, I was lucky enough to get a genuine Harley Davidson gear for it at less than what they wanted for an aftermarket one, you know, by over $100, which surprised me when it came in the box and it was actually genuine Harley Davidson. So I've installed that. My sprocket fits on great. Like, I'll show you when it comes time for assembly for me to torque it on, and you'll see the difference. But this is a point to keep your eye on. This can be very, very deceiving. Very, very deceiving. And if that sprocket, like I say, is only on there part way, you know, and if you've got that kind of rattly play in it, it's going to come loose. It's going to work its way off pretty quick. You know, it's going to, this little tabs on the end of this thing, which are just minute, as you can see, they're not big thick tabs at all, is not going to last very long. So you're depending upon the torque to hold it on. I'll be red Loctiting that mother on there and torquing it up to the top end of the specs to hold it. But now we've got a new gear and a brand new sprocket locks, so we should be ahead of the game. But be sure to check that out. Be sure to keep an eye on it, especially on these FLHT models, because sprockets do come loose on them. You don't know, they're in there in the enclosed chain. You have no idea if it's rocking back and forth on that fifth gear. And if it is, trouble's coming, as you see. So we don't want to go through that again. So take note, little tip for the day. So while I was waiting for other parts to come, I decided it was time to clean up the primary case like I planned. Now, like I said, the way the primary is designed with the rubbers on it, you pretty well have to remove the motor in order to jack the primary case up high enough to get the bottom tabs for those boots off. You know, you can't get the primary out. It's hung down in behind the frame in there. So it's very, very, very hard to get out. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, but there's an easy way and there's a hard way. And we're switching this bike over to a primary belt drive, put an O-ring chain on the back, ends of those problems. So I wanted to make sure that he plans to keep this bike for many, many, many years. And should anything ever develop, should the sprocket ever get loose, should anything like that develop, I wanted to make sure that it would be an easy fix to get off. I certainly didn't want him to think, oh, well, now it's loose, I'm going to have to pull the engine to start with. And if he had to take it somewhere and have it done, it would cost a lot of money. Well, that being said, something that I would like to just point out, and was pointed out to me from one of my viewers on my channel, if you look through the manual on this bike, and it tells you how to install the primary, it tells you to put the primary bearing on the shaft, coat it in green seal retainer, bearing retainer, and then shove the primary on over the bearing. Now, I don't know if it would seat properly exactly, but it might. But again, if you come to the point where you have to remove it and you've got that green Loctite on that bearing, it says just tap it out. Well, that's always not so easy, and my bearing had already spun in the case. So if it was on there with green Loctite and you tried to tap it out, it would require heat to start with to try and get it out. But in any case, you'd be stuck in the same problem if you couldn't get that bearing out and you had to beat it out in order to get that primary case off. It's just not a very good setup. So I've opted to do it my way. That's the way it is, right or wrong. So what I've done is just taken the primary case and I've shaved off, you can see here, the boot ears on the top here. Oops, right here, the two boot ears on the top. And here's the top of the one for the bottom, and now the bottom one is gone. And I've cleaned the case off like that, like any other primary case. And now it will slide right in on the frame with no interference over the main shaft like that. That was the problem with the main shaft sticking out. You couldn't get it in there. There's no way with the length of the main shaft to get that back gear in there. Maybe some of you out there have been able to do it. I've only worked on these once before and it was a nightmare. And I didn't want to leave Kerry with this problem for the future. So now with it shaved off, it's nice and clean. It'll go in and out like it's supposed to. We've taken all the drain plugs and the back fittings out. And I'm going to leave those out for air for the belt drive. You know, they say it's a good idea to let it get a bit of air in there instead of it all being completely enclosed and building up a lot of heat. I'm sure he'll drive it accordingly. I don't think he's going to be out in too much stormy weather and such with it. So I will tell him, you know, I'll mention to him that these are out, the reason for it, and then he'll know. At worst scenario, every once in a while you could pop the outer primary case off and clean out any debris that's in there, and checking your belt and see how it's doing. And away you go, Bob's your uncle. All right, so those are the tips and the things that I've run into today. It's never dull, but we're gonna get at it. We're on the downside now. I got some muscle coming this weekend. I think maybe will help me put the motor in, and we'll be moving ahead from there. Even though I put this brand new sprocket on here, there's still that little bit of play that I wish wasn't there. I wish it was a better fit, but it just sits out so far on the end of the sprocket that there's not much you can do about that. We'll put our little thing in here, which fits into the grooves, and we'll put the red Loctite to it. So in order to be able to tighten it, we're going to reach in here and we're just going to slide one of these gears over into place and this one over into place, and that will lock our transmission into position. Keep an eye on my tabs that they're staying in the same place. Yeah. And now we're going to torque this at 90 to 110 foot-pounds. Now the sprocket's on and we know it's right. Torque to the left, it must be tight. We know the clip has been put in place. We bend the tabs to make sure she stays in one. There we go. One of our screws will go in here. Small screw, which is a locking screw, a hardened locking screw. There's only 2 tabs on that, so we'll unlock our gears here. So I can turn it, and then we can get this tab bent over. And we can't really get the other one, but I'm going to try to get the edge of it. Say you can do it with one, but there we go. All right. Loctite. We lock the Allen screw, no mistakes today. With all this done, we are on our way. Much more to do before we can play. Just one more. Lock these. We'll make the motor right. Then we slip her in, and it's a bit of there. And that'll at least give us a fighting chance in there. So unlock these. All right. So now we're going to take our shift forks that we took out and we kept them all together so we know what was what. And we're just going to start putting those in. First one back here. Put the shift forks in. One. Lube them up just right. Everything lined up. Yeah, it's quite a sight. the other one back in here. Slide that gear over. Makes it easier to get it on. Make sure that you're into the collars for these to shift. And these should all line up evenly. Put some oil on our shift fork, shift shaft, rod, and we just slide it through the hole. And we start to work it into our shift forks. Takes a little bit of finesse to get them through there. There we go. And we're going to put a little bit of thread sealer on that just to help there, because it's outside the clutch cover. So if it did cause a small leak there for some reason, it shouldn't, but a little bit of seal all will stop that. And we're just going to tighten that in. There we go. Make sure that our shift forks move nice and freely in there. Okay. Now I'm going to put some lube in there on that. And now we're going to put a nice coating of gear oil in there. Not too full because we don't have the clutch cover on there yet. We don't want it rolling out that hole. But we want everything lubed up good in there. There we go. So we're going to get our clutch cover on. So I need my push rod. It's a good time to put that in. Put a little bit of oil on it. Slide that in. And on this side, we need this small piece. So this has got your needle bearing and such in there. And that goes on this side. There is a small piece that goes on the other side that will go in this side of the push rod yet for the adjustment. But right now we're where we want to be. And get our gasket. We need to make sure that we turn our collar here so that it's back this way. And we'll try to get a couple screws in here to keep our gasket in place. Again, paying attention to your gasket, there's a cutout in the top for the roundness of the gasket. We don't want that down at the bottom because it could possibly cause you leaks. Put a little dab of Loctite on these, of course. Just snug them up in a crisscross pattern. And the torque on these is 7 to 9 pounds, which I've converted to inch pounds because it's hard to set your wrench down at such a low setting. So we're set at about 95 inch pounds. Get the torque wrench out, set it just right, just making sure that we're not too tight. It's all these things and yet much more to go before she rides again. Make sure that our clutch rod is working there. We know we're in the right place. So now we're going to put our shift cam assembly in. And I want to put a little bit of oil in the new needle bearing that we've put in. We've replaced. and there's numbers on the bottom of this. And that tells you the numbers should face downward on this shift cam. So it's an important point. So we lift the arm up over the shift assembly, and we try to get things lined up into place. Line our gears. There we go. Just move your shift forks around there to get them lined up. And these should snap down into place. Put our screws in. Back so we can get this in there. And the same thing, we're going about 95 inch-pounds. Into the setting sun. There we go. Okay. Now we can continue to put some oil in there. Some more. All right. So, what we have to do now is put our transmission in third gear, and we have to set up this little arm here to make sure that it's within 10 thou either way. So I'll get ready to do that and see if I can get somewhere that I can get a shot on it, and we'll set that up to make sure the shifting is correct. So now what we're going to try to do is to adjust our shift arm here, and this is one of the things that generally can make the world of difference. And I'll show you in a picture there, but there's two little pins in here, and it's very, very hard for me to show you. But I'm in first gear right now, so we want first gear. Let me just turn it. Second gear. Spin it till we get third gear. And these are to be set up in third gears where we want them. So now we'll have a visual look at our pins in there. And we can see that we're not quite centered up. So what we're going to do is loosen this nut and adjust this screw. We've got a special tool here. There we go. Loose there. Check where we are here. First, neutral. Second. Third. Okay. And what I'm going to try and do is adjust this screw one way or the other, and it will move this arm here. And what we're looking for is to be centered up. So this is what we're trying to show you here, this small gap between each one. That's very hard to see when I'm filming there, but this is what tells you where to set that shifter according to the pins that are on the shift barrel. Very important. Let's see if we can lock it there. And we're right in between, and that's where we want to be for our shifting. So that's got her set up right. So we're good to go there. And this is the proper gasket for this, even though it looks funny because there's a big loop there. But here's the actual cover. And you can see there is a big loop area there. So that's where we got her. Just give her One more going over with a little bit of oil in there. And I've had Chuck Martin clean these covers all up for me, so they look a lot better than what they did. Okay. Same thing, we'll turk those 95. And we'll just stick our arm on, making sure this is back. Oh. Hold back on it here while you're tightening it. There we go. And you're probably wondering why I got that empty engine case in there. I'm just doing it so I can set things up so when I go to put my motor in, I know approximately where my tranny's got to be. I got a block under it, and it'll enable me a lot easier to put it in because there'll be a lot of weight on the front mounts and such, and they're a little tricky to put in there. But this allows me to make sure everything's lined up and it should go in where it's supposed to be. That's the plan. So at this point in the game, I'd just like to mention that I'm going to run the motor here with no music, because I did have a few people say, hey, I couldn't hear the motor run because of the music. Well, it was obvious the motor ran, but we're going to give you a 3-minute check here to show you that the motor runs and you can listen to it. And if you don't want to do it for 3 minutes, you can fast forward to the end of it there. So this is for the guys that wanted to hear the motor run. And be sure to check out my buddies down south, Hippie's Chop Recorder, Slick Ed's Custom Cycles. All right, let's get to it and run that motor. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, there we just completed the last of our runs on it, the 3-minute runs, and get that done, and everything seems to be good. I'm going to go around and retorque once more. I've already done it once, but I'll do it one more time, and then we're going to get it out and get it in the bike. So it'll be the next step for Josephine, and she's coming together and she sounds good. What's that top?
Yeah.
Now, you see, we gotta...
Okay. I'm gonna get up on the table here, Ralph.
Yeah. Front is gonna have to come up. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. That's it. That's it. Okay. That's it!
Looks a lot better though, Ralph, with the space filled in.
Well, you feel like you're getting somewhere now.
Oh yeah.
Just one more run, we'll make the motor right. Then we slip her in, and it's a bit of a fight.
Yeah, that wouldn't drive a fella to drink.
Jesus, eh? Now the trick is gonna be to get those bolts in there. Now it looks like I'm way off on those.
I'm gonna take one out and just have a look, see where we are, Ralph.
One piece at a time, it's just what it takes. There's no easy way, it's what on your plate. But day after day, she's close to being done.
So we get the primary on now. By loosening up the front clevis block here, you're able to pull this over and it kind of brings it in on a little bit of an angle. So you'd think the motor's going back, but it's actually just changing the angle of it a little bit. So now the primary slides on. I can put all my screws in, and then I'll snug the clevis up in the front once everything's exactly where I want it. I may go a little touch more because they're a little bit snug, but that's for another day. Yeah. Thanks for the help today.
Oh, no problem.
When I got need muscle, I know who to call.
That's right.
So we got the motor in Josephine here today, and it's looking good. It's nice to finally get to this point where our transmission is all rebuilt now, our motor is rebuilt, and we're starting to put the pieces back together. And it was great to have Ken come here today and help me with getting it in, because I certainly wouldn't get it in myself. So thanks very much, Ken. Appreciate you coming, and couldn't have done it without you. And when I need to move another motor, I know who to call. Another piece of the puzzle there, another piece of the puzzle in. So we're starting to make headway. From here all in, it should be a little more enjoyable. You always run into little problems here and there, and you never really know what we're going to be up against. But now that we've got most everything fixed and we're starting to put everything back together, becomes more of an enjoyable part. And with the big pieces in, you feel like you're getting somewhere. So stick with us, more to come. So if you enjoyed this video today, like, subscribe, comment, ring the bell, do those kind of things. It helps us to grow. It's an ongoing story with Josephine, but we're getting there now. We've got the motor in, as you've seen, and stuff like that. So stick with us for next week. We're going to start working on the primary case, trying to get that all in, and various kind of other parts hooked up, the starters, the solenoid, and those sort of things. And I don't know how far we'll get, but we'll see next week. And before you go, be sure to check out the end of the video for my weekly song on what happened this week and how it went. I want to thank all those out there that have responded to my community post and my questions on my channel, whether I should be including music or not. I've had some conflicting results, but I do it because I enjoy it. And I want to thank you all that have responded to me graciously and encouraged me to keep the music up. So that's what I'm going to do. So with that being said, here's the song for this week. I'll see you next week.
You never really know how your day will go. There's always something that can make you feel low. The old primary case, she sure had her flaws. An outdated system that gave you room for pause. So we cut her down, that was our plan. For future times, we're doing all we can. One piece at a time is just what it takes. There's no easy way, is what's on your plate. But day after day, she's close to being done. And then she'll ride into the setting sun. And now the sprocket's on and we know it's right. Torque to the left, it must be tight. We know the clip has been put in place. We bend the tabs to make sure she stays. But the shift forks in, loop them up just right. Everything's lined up, yeah, it is quite a sight. One piece at a time, it's just what it takes. There's no easy way, it's what's on your plate. But day after day, she's close to being done. And then she'll ride into the setting sun. Slip the clutch cover on, the gasket's in place. Tighten each bolt right, it'll be our saving grace. Get the torque wrench out, set it just right. Just making sure that we're not too tight. Let's get the shift drum in, one piece at a time. And slip the cover on, just to make her shine. Just one more run, we'll make the motor right. Then we slip her in, and it's a bit of a fight. But with a good friend's help, she's in there now. It won't be long until we hear her howl. One piece at a time is just what it takes. There's no easy way, it's what's on your plate. But day after day, she's close to being done. And then she'll ride into the setting sun.